Next topic here, we're going through our different types of organic molecules in a little bit more detail, and the next one will be the lipids. And you know lipids better as fats. That's the more common term for lipids. All right, we talked about how carbohydrates are mostly built from carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Same deal with lipids. They're also mainly built from carbons and hydrogens and oxygens. However, typically there are a lot fewer oxygen atoms in lipids than you have in carbohydrates. They're mostly built from carbons and hydrogens, lots of those. Sometimes you have phosphorus attached to lipids, and we'll talk about a special type of lipid called phospholipids where that is the case. All right, a key property of lipids, they are insoluble in water. Insoluble means they don't dissolve in water. Another term for that you guys should learn is hydrophobic. Hydrophobic. Phobic, like a phobia, you have a fear of something. Hydro in biology almost always refers to water. So you are water fearing. These are molecules that don't like water. You guys know oil and water, they don't mix. So oils are types of lipids, and they do not dissolve in water. They will not combine with water molecules. So that's what's meant by insoluble in water. Most of the organic molecules we're talking about are very soluble in water, which means they dissolve very easily in water. All right, there are several different types of lipids, and you'll hear about these as you move through your A&P courses and other biology courses as well. Triglycerides, that's probably the most common type. Those are the ones you hear the most about, like when you have blood work done, a lot of times they'll check your triglycerides, and your doctor may refer to those as the fats in your blood. Those are the ones where you have to be concerned too. They can start to accumulate along the walls of your blood vessels and cause blockages and so forth, so you have to be careful with those. And phospholipids are a special type of lipid that are used to build the cell membranes that we have, the coverings around the outsides of our cells. Steroids, we've all heard of steroids before, usually because we're hearing about like a bodybuilder taking steroid hormone injections to try to increase their muscle mass. And so that is true. The hormones that stimulate muscle growth are types of steroids, but that's not, there are many different kinds of steroids that you'll learn about as you move through your A&P courses. And then a fourth type, you may hear a little bit about these when you take Biology 202. They're called eicosanoids. And those are a special type of lipid that are used in signaling. So cells will actually make these and secrete them or release them, and they're used to send signals to other types of cells. Main functions of lipids, they're pretty diverse, more diverse than you might imagine. But all right, so we all know our bodies like to store fats or lipids for long-term energy storage. So if you're taking in too many nutrients through your foods, our bodies are programmed to hang on to the excess. And so many of these organic molecules that you eat in your diet wind up getting converted over to lipids for storage in fat cells in your body. Lipids make up the building blocks of your cell membranes. Those are the coverings around the outsides of your cells. And some, as we were just talking about, the steroids function as hormones, which you'll learn a lot more about when you take A&P 2. All right, what do triglycerides look like? Triglycerides consist, so just like other organic molecules, they're built from monomers. Your monomers of a triglyceride include a molecule called glycerol, okay, and 3 fatty acids. That's a fatty acid, that's another one, and that's another one. All right, so when you take a glycerol and you do dehydration synthesis where you bond those 3 fatty acids to one glycerol, you come out with a triglyceride. And notice you lose 3 water molecules over here because you did 3 different dehydration synthesis reactions to build that triglyceride molecule. All right, so fatty acids, we hear about fatty acids in the news all the time. There are certain kinds of fatty acids that we consume too much of in the typical American diet. So you'll hear about like red meat has a lot of saturated fatty acids in it. Vegetable oils have what are called unsaturated fatty acids, and then there are different types of unsaturated fatty acids you hear about in the news all the time, like monounsaturated versus polyunsaturated. Omega-3 fatty acids, if you've heard about those before, that's a type that it's in the news quite a bit because in the modern American diet we don't consume enough, believe it or not, of that type of fatty acid that would be optimal for function of the body. So you'll hear that terminology used. When you hear about different types, it comes into this part of the molecule over here where you see the CH2, CH2, CH2. You can actually have some differences in there in the way in which the carbons and the hydrogens are bonded to each other, and that gives those fatty acids different names and different properties and different functions. So that's a triglyceride. When you hear that term, that's what's being referred to. And when you eat something that's very fatty, like a steak, you're eating lots of triglycerides. Those fats are triglycerides. When the fat cells in your body store fat, they're storing triglycerides. That's the form that they're stored in. All right, then there's another type of lipid called a phospholipid. And so that one is it's basically a modified triglyceride. So it's got the glycerol part we were just taking a look at. You know, that's a monomer, and then it's got 2 fatty acids. Each of those is a monomer as well. And then there is the 3rd fatty acid has been replaced with a phosphorus containing group. So phosphorus is an element, its chemical symbol is P, and that phosphorus will have oxygen surrounding it and then some other atoms as well, depending on the type of phospholipid that we're talking about. So these molecules wind up having a head region. That's where the phosphorus is located. There's a head region, and then you wind up with these 2 fatty acids hanging off of it. Those are your fatty acid tails. And this portion of the molecule is hydrophilic. And these 2 fatty acid tails over here are hydrophobic. So they hate water. Whenever you see a bunch of carbons and hydrogens bonded together and you don't see any oxygens in there, that's going to be hydrophobic, water repelling. They hate water. This portion, though, loves water. So it's kind of a molecule with a split personality. Part of it loves water. Hydrophilic, like the suffix "phil" means to love. So the hydrophilic portion loves water. The hydrophobic portions hate water. And as we'll see later when we get to chapter 3, that makes these molecules perfect for building the coverings around your cells, those cell membranes. And here's another representation of that from your textbook, a little bit more detail. They're showing you this is a phospholipid molecule, and they're drawing out the chemical structures. No, you don't have to memorize that, but there's the glycerol part, so that's going to be one of the monomers of these molecules. There's a fatty acid, there's a fatty acid, and then over here you've got this 4th part. That's the phosphorus containing head of the molecule. This part loves water. These 2 fatty acid tails over here hate water. When you guys are seeing this terminology, polar and nonpolar, That's chemistry terminology. I'm not going to get into that in this class because I think you guys already have plenty of new terminology to learn. You may have had that, though, in an earlier biology course. For our purposes, when you're reading polar, think of polar as hydrophilic, and think of nonpolar as hydrophobic. You can more or less, for our purposes in this class, substitute those two words for polar and nonpolar. A lot of times phospholipids, you'll see this from time to time in your biology classes. When you see a little round portion with two tails hanging off, that's usually representing a phospholipid. All right, we're going to hear more about phospholipids when you do your Chapter 3 videos and you talk about the cell membrane. Because phospholipids, in those lectures, we'll learn why phospholipids are perfect for building your cell membranes. All right, this is another diagram from your textbook. This is what a steroid-type lipid looks like. And steroids don't look like triglycerides or phospholipids. Triglycerides, phospholipids kind of look like each other. Steroids are very different, but nevertheless, they are still very hydrophobic. They hate water, and they're mainly built from carbons and hydrogens. And those carbons and hydrogens are arranged with each other. They're bonded with each other in ring shapes. You have 4 chemical rings like this. And I'm drawing in some of the carbons and hydrogens that are there. When you see these little stick figures on molecules that have all these little ring-shaped structures like that, a lot of times, just again for simplicity, they leave out the carbons and the hydrogens in many cases to simplify the diagram. But like I was telling you, whenever you see a molecule with lots of carbons and hydrogens and not much of anything else, very few oxygens, that's going to give that molecule very different properties, and those types of molecules hate water. They're hydrophobic. This is actually a representation of cholesterol. All right, and so we're used to thinking about cholesterol as something bad. You know, we hear we don't want a lot of cholesterol in our diet. In reality, cholesterol molecules are in all of your cell membranes. They have to be there. Your cell membranes would not function properly if they were not there. So, and your body makes plenty of its own cholesterol. That's why you don't need extra in your diet. Also, this is the starting point for steroids. So we talked about how a number of hormones made in the body are steroids. So to make a steroid, the cells that do that start with cholesterol molecules, and they add additional atoms to create something that's different. So steroids include things like testosterone, the male sex hormone, the estrogens, the female sex hormones. Those are examples of steroids. And there are others as well. All right, that was just kind of a quick overview of lipids and some of their basic functions. Lecture number 9 will be about proteins, the third major type of organic compounds. And they're a little more, we'll spend a little bit more time talking about proteins because we hear a lot about proteins. Proteins are like your chemical workhorses that you have inside your cells and in the filler spaces of your tissues. They have many important roles. We'll spend a little bit more time talking about those in lecture number 9.